Welcome to Exploring Digital with Purr, a podcast for entrepreneurs and CEOs who want their businesses to benefit from a digital-first approach. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Exploring Digital with Purr. Today I'm being joined by Tom Neish from Biscuit Bunker. Tom, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little about what Biscuit Bunker does?
Yeah, thanks for having us. So Biscuit Bunker is a content development company focusing specifically on video. We partner with agencies to be their go-to video production company for their clients. The kind of content we produce ranges from branded content in both live action and animation, and that could be commercials, brand films, corporate video content for clients such as large international agencies within WPP and Omnicom to small and medium-sized agencies too.
Yeah, I know you mentioned recently that you'd realised that we both knew Ben Leaves of Consider, having seen him on this podcast. So have you, out of interest, what sort of work have you done with those guys? For
so
reference?
it's funny, we haven't actually worked directly with them. The relationship came to, I can't remember where it came from. It was probably me doing an annoying sales outreach email at one point, but I feel like with Ben, there's a bit of a meeting of minds. I feel like that he's just as mad as we are in the nicest way possible. But I saw that the passion through what they do through their business in terms of the charity clients they've got there. I love that they've got a focus on people and clients with a social at its center. So they really do care about what they do, and I think that's getting quite lost in the industry at the moment. So yeah, it was really good to meet with him.
The other side of the triangle is very early on, we gave you a little demo of a product we were working on called Social Pops, which was mass video generation. And the other side of that was that's jointly owned with Consider. So you'd seen something we were working on. We didn't know you were talking to them. So yeah, nice that we're all talking together. And it's one of those weird things where in this new normal that everything's so much more transparent and everyone really sees how everyone knows each other.
It really is. It was really funny because I was talking to him on a totally separate occasion. I didn't know you guys knew each other. And he said, I've actually just been interviewed for a podcast with an agency called Purr Digital. And I was like, oh, wait, hold on. How do you know those guys? And he started telling me about the exact tool that we came in and discussed with you guys. So, yeah, small world.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I guess, we've done a few of these now, but we've not spoken to anyone specifically working in content or production specifically, like you guys. So, in broad terms, I mean, we can make some pretty good assumptions, but how has COVID-19 affected the day-to-day of what you guys were doing and how you're working with clients? Yeah,
it's a very, very challenging time. There's no two ways about it. It's had a huge impact on the industry and what we do as a whole. In terms of how it's affecting us directly, I'd say there's about an 80-20% split where 80% of our projects have been either postponed or they've chosen a new direction for them. So that might be planning to shoot it in, say, November without putting anything firmly in place and going down that route. In terms of shifting direction, shifting maybe campaign messaging of some animated content we might have produced or something we have shot in the past to reference what's happening in this current climate. Just because you can't ignore it with the content you're putting out at the moment. It would just be silly to. So having a reference and drawing to it is really key there. So about 80% there. The other 20% has just been entirely cancelled. And that's a real shame. There's some great projects there that we were looking to do. And the reason they've been cancelled is that, unfortunately, a couple of agencies have really suffered that we've worked with. One is struggling quite hard at the moment. So they've sort of put everything, they've lost their pillar client. So that's one angle. But the other angle would be a couple of time-sensitive projects. So we had an e-commerce brand who worked with a clothing company to produce some content for Easter. And there was no way that content would have or can have gone out, or it just wouldn't have been relevant or tasteful whatsoever. So that's the sort of stuff that's been totally cancelled. But yeah, in terms of like the industry, it's really sad. I'm seeing so many colleagues and people that are so passionate about what they do in the production side of things, totally unable to to work. Especially going out and filming something right now, you simply can't. Although technically, I think we are allowed to.
I did read something the other day about maybe some restrictions being relaxed to allow some filming, but distancing
Yeah.
within it. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, you've got news channels going out to film, say, Captain Tom. I think he actually got promoted to a colonel today, which is awesome. But they're still going out and filming that sort of stuff because it's seen as essential that people are kept up to date with things. Unfortunately, we don't work in the news side of things or broadcast, but most of it being cancelled. But I do see a big silver lining in that, is that the people I know personally and from what I've seen online is this huge push for new creative ideas and concepts. Like, for example, I saw a stat on TikTok, which in the past used to be called Musical.ly. That's taken an upturn of, I think they had 6.2 million or so new users at the start of March. And although people thought that was it's a social media platform for kids or children, and it's not relevant to bigger brands, I think that has totally gone out the window. And having seen some of the creativity put on there, I think a big bonus out of this is that it generally, we're seeing just all these new creatives pop up out of the woodwork, and we're going to see just amazing new ideas come off the back of this.
I've not actually seen it mentioned particularly in any news or social audience, but just the overwhelming surge of memes and short form content that has come out about sort of COVID-related jokes. Even though it's a horrible thing that we're using humor as a way to deal with it, but just the sheer volume of stuff that people are being sent and sharing to make light of everything it's pretty incredible. It's weird how people's minds work to go, well, this is how I'm going to process. This is how I'm going to deal with this challenge. And I think it's really interesting. You mentioned, there's such a new uptake of these new platforms, and at the same time, I think how incredible is it to see so many brands still producing video, right? Sadly, not necessarily working as much with video production agencies to do it, but still they are producing video from home. People are recording podcasts and Zoom chats and webinars. And the other side of this, people, whatever we adapt to the other side, there's still going to be such a demand or an expectation of video content coming out that it can only benefit production companies longer term, surely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's with the kind of content people are producing now. You look at campaigns. Have you seen the Nike Living Room Cup?
Yes. Yeah.
It's so good. You're seeing that these brands that have clearly, I think right now, just a step back, is that people are being really, really reactive. And the reactivity behind it still needs some method. It still needs to have some kind of aim and fall into some strategy. Otherwise, the content will get totally lost. I've seen a couple of ads go out that just haven't referenced the situation or referenced what's happening right now, and they're just lost because they're not relevant at all. But then you look at Nike, where they've got this amazing Living Room Cup challenge. If you haven't seen it, it's got these athletes doing challenges at home and essentially setting a challenge for people all across social to do. So there's one from the British sprinter, Dina Asher-Smith, who she sets this challenge, and she does, I think it's like 175 reps of an exercise I couldn't do, for lack of a better term, but just probably wouldn't be able to do. But it's asking people to submit their videos. And I really like it because not only are they helping in this whole situation with a lot of people there's been a huge uptake in home workouts, as I'm sure you've seen across social, but they're really helping in that aspect, but they're still sticking to their strategy. And that is to drive traffic to their apps. And that Nike have several home fitness workout apps, and obviously they sell the clothing that supports it as well. So I really like how they're still providing value to the community and actually helping people in this situation. And I think that's a really, really good takeaway and a really good successful campaign that I'm seeing right now.
Absolutely. But I think the interesting point you touched on there is that it still required a really good strategy around it. And so someone is still coming up with video strategy work, even if it's not so much the production of the content. So strategy and editing, there's still a huge opportunity.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. The types of content that you mentioned there, the Zoom chats and the webinars and everything, right now is the perfect time to be doing that. I think a lot of businesses have had at the back of their mind, and agencies as well, to suggest to their clients this sorts of content, like the podcast we're doing right now, for example. I'm seeing a big upturn in that, because now is a time where audiences are way more accepting of different forms of content, because they're filling their time with different forms of media. So now is the time to start testing. Now is the time to start that podcast we wanted to do. Now's the time to learn how to do some graphics in After Effects. Of course, this is it's coming from us, where we'd love to be the people doing it for them. But at the same time, I see that as it'll push our creativity forward, because the more people that are producing things, the more creative we've got to get.
Completely, and certainly, even if you were just running a training course for people to be able to do some basic things at home, it still starts a conversation for later on, where you can take over more of the responsibility when their expectation or people's level of ambition for what they want to produce increases as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I was talking to Elliot, my business partner, about just creativity as a whole, and how we're seeing we in the past we've seen agencies work with obviously us, but with freelancers that are amazing at what they do. But one thing I think that might have lacked ever so slightly is just variation and diversity across different skill sets and different types of freelancers that you can pick. So what I really hope out of this situation is we see loads of new talent emerge, and agencies use different forms of talent to maybe fulfill a project creatively. So I'm thinking
the term bedroom creative has never been more appropriate, really. It's people don't mind that it's not looking as slick and professional as it used to.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said about
it's a mark of authenticity.
Authenticity is so key. That is a really, really good word for it. And that 80% I was talking about, where projects have maybe been repurposed or postponed, I think that a lot of creatives are going to have this creative pent-up aggression that when we come out of this, it's just going to be released, and we're going to see some amazing work off the back of it. And well, I hope so, at the least.
I think there's another area as well for content agencies, people who were working on things that weren't going to be reactive, things that were, preemptive reactive materials. So I'm aware of all sorts of companies that they build up a bank of content in case of certain scenarios. And our parameters for what is a potential scenario has just got a lot bigger. People weren't considering this level of pandemic preparedness. And if we have to anticipate that normal life may be up and down a little bit for years, not months, then what are the opportunities to be so much more prepared next time around if there's another period of lockdown of some sort? How can you be ready in the ways that we weren't at all this time around?
Yeah, exactly. Like if there's some form of second wave, what they're talking about, or it does also open up the question of how we're going to execute business in the new environment of social distancing. So let's say, touch wood, fortunately, I just hope that this doesn't come up again. But if it did, and all this social distancing, if we're still doing shoots, for example, how do we execute a shoot conforming to social distancing rules? And how do we set up a camera around people? How do we even mic someone up with a microphone to record an interview, maybe? So that's some stuff we put in place as well. We started to think about that, and it's actually a question that some people have asked us. People think we're very hard hit by this, and we are, but we're shifting our approach and planning for the future that way.
Absolutely, yeah, really important to do. And are you getting a greater number of requests, do you think, at the moment for animated type work, or is that pretty constant, would you say?
So greater for sure, yeah. We're fortunate we rank in Google for some pretty key animation terms, and those pages have just been going crazy. And it's ranging from everything from just like logo, simple basic logo stuff that we do, all the way to the fully animated explainers. We have one ongoing agency client in particular that's basically taken all of their live action content and repurposed it into animated social content. So they've taken that budget, shifted it, and split that what would have been a commercial into 20 animated social films. And it's a really good example of how just someone can react to the situation but still achieve the same goal, and stick to a strategy and an end goal of what they're looking to do. In terms of animation requests increase, for sure, it's pretty much the only thing we're being asked to do right now. the animation in all forms of motion graphics, or if it's like doing mood films, for example. There's an agency that we do their animation, and they're producing mood films and strategy films for clients for just how they're shifting their strategy. And where we come in is just to add overlays of just cool graphics, cool animations to just pick up that project. So it might be like a full service animation that we're being asked to do, or additional graphics for, say, a mood film.
Super. So I know one thing that obviously we talked about this product in the past, but one of the topics we've been talking about a lot at the moment is automation, and just the ways that businesses could use, whether it's a simple process to produce something very quickly as a piece of content, or help them disseminate on social, or whether they use something as powerful as our product Social Pops to mass generate videos for every single one of their customers, subscribers, organization membership. It does seem to me like there's an opportunity for using these tools to try and personalize content for people, or produce more or distribute it better. And I just wonder whether you've seen any particularly good examples of people doing that at the moment.
So it's funny you say that, because your Social Pops is the best tool for doing that. The personalization aspect is key. I've spoken to a lot of people about localizing their content a lot more. So it's not about looking for a broader audience. It's about focusing it on a specific area. So localizing in the forms of, like, say, I love how Channel 4 do it across their ads, where they're integrating your name into the advertising itself. So I've seen my name on the side of a Coca-Cola bottle on my TV while I'm watching SAS Who Dares Wins. And you just see it on there, and it really makes you think. And I just tell people about it. And that form of localization as a whole, or just personalization, is key. Your Social Pops side of things, I think what I really, really liked about that tool in particular is how it's instant. Like as a say, I think, am I okay to talk about the examples you showed me?
Yes, I think you probably should be. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the I think it was signing up to the marathon, and how if
sadly not so popular at the moment.
No, it's not. But the concept in itself of having the tool that can draw upon your own social feed to pull in so I think the example you showed me, like if I signed up to the marathon, I'd be given a link which would pull in my Facebook profile picture, a donation link, and it would give me a video that I can upload to all my social channels. Super personalized and great production value as well, and really, it's just personalized to that person, and everyone's going to see a personalized video and be more likely to donate to the cause, because it's personalized. It doesn't just say I've entered; it says Tom Neish has entered the marathon. One day I hope to be able to use that. Actually, I'm in no shape to do a marathon anytime soon, but hopefully I can be using that in the future. But I do think there's
some other applications of the use of it coming through at the moment, and people, there are opportunities for us to use it more, but it's just less about events. But I think the one thing we probably need to react to is the fact that people are far more prepared to, film their own pieces of content as well. And what can we do to merge, content that people are self-producing at home with plus something that's got the corporate branding and consistent styling or production quality of something that we're mass producing for a particular purpose. So, is there a mashup of the two? And I do think there's going to be it's so hopefully something we will see more of, is people contributing to content that brands are producing.
They should. I think or getting the audience involved is key, because you have to. At the end of the day, it's for them. The content you're creating is for them, so you've got to draw it back to something that is relatable to them. The user-generated content as a whole is a great dog food brand that's doing some stuff right now where you can look it up online, but they're getting dog owners to film feeding their dogs, and it's gone out on TV. I can't remember the brand name off the top of my head, annoyingly, but you'd never see that. You're seeing brands just produce content that 2 months ago, if they asked us to do, we would have said no. That's just not the best way to do it. It's not the best practice. It's not the method you should use. But now it's the new norm. It's accepted because, like we were saying earlier, audiences are accepting this form of content.
Completely, and suddenly there's a whole new channel in a way of sort of distributed content production that will still, will be there in the future. Hopefully, it will still require centralized production teams for other pieces of content. But it's just what can we do with this insight into people's personal lives?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. So you've talked about things that you as a business are doing to to prepare for the future, or things you could do differently if you wanted to produce content. Have you gone as far as thinking, well, could we send kit to people, or would we, or is there a sort of a £100 Biscuit Bunker kit you can buy to get set up at home to record content better? Whether that's a lighting ring or a microphone pop shield, or just things that you, whether it's a paid product, or even sort of corporate giveaways in a way to send to people and go, here's how we can help you in the future.
Yeah, so it's funny you say that. There's one client in particular we're doing exactly that for. So there's a campaign that's been planned that we're creating the hero film for loads of social collateral, and off the back of that, the supporting content is content similar to this. So it's going to be live podcasts. We're going to be doing some content over Instagram Live, interviewing key authority figures in that sector from around the world. And a big part of that is the technical challenges of the person that's going to be doing the interviews. They're not very technically able. That's a really polite way of putting it. I know them very well. If they listen to this, you know who you are. But yeah, sending out kit to them, getting a high quality microphone out. I think it's still important, getting that edge of production value just slightly above, say, someone doing it on a phone and not having good sound quality is still really key.
Yeah, that's the thing. The cameras on phones are so good now, but it's the microphone nearly always that is the letdown.
Yeah, and there's a famous thing in film is that your eyes can easily be fooled by what's happening visually, but your ears, you hear everything, and if the sound's wrong, there's still something wrong with it. So, and you'll never be able to let go of bad audio. So, sending out lighting rings and a camera out to this particular client. It's been interesting setting up like a VO studio at their house for them. I mean, just a quick tip out there as well. If you're looking to do like a voiceover, a really high quality voiceover, and your room's quite echoey, the second best place in a studio, in a lot of people's opinions, including my own, is in your car. The acoustics inside a car are so perfect for doing a voiceover. So, had a few Zoom sessions with this particular client, them sat in their car recording the voiceover, which has been quite amusing. But again, on the back of that, it's more content. So I think just get the realism of someone getting in their car and doing that. It's formed its own video, so that there's a vlog going out of them doing this behind the scenes and doing that. So it's just really got to hone in and make the most of these situations, because again, this client wouldn't have put out that content of the vlog of them getting in their car and doing it. It just seems people would see it seem low rent or just a silly way of doing things, but it's the new norm, and they're an international agency, so it's a good bend.
There's almost an element of people sort of embracing the failure of it, or the bloopers, or how haphazard some of it is. And so many videos you're seeing at the moment, you're getting little email chimes going off, or just interruption, and it's quite funny to see. I know we're putting together a little bloopers reel of some of the stuff that we've been mucking up as we do these.
Perfect.
And as you know, trying to get this one going, just each time there's a different technical challenge, but it gets easier. Yeah,
it's about trying to refine those different moments, isn't it? We've done countless Zoom interviews now, and the recording factor has always been an issue. But I think it's about trying to develop those further as well. So if you're doing a Zoom chat interview similar to this, or if you're interviewing someone, you can add a lot to that video to make it stand out. So rather than just putting the video up online, there's so many things you can do. You can add a backdrop. I've seen a really popular one that's going out right now, which is just adding a framing device of a fake like Zoom chat window. I've seen people animate, say, a laptop opening up, and you see them sort of start their computer as they're starting the Zoom call. Really interesting stuff like that. Another thing that we did actually with one client is that I think people shouldn't overlook B-roll. So B-roll in something we're doing like this right now is it can really make a Zoom call turn from a Zoom call to a story, and telling the story behind that Zoom call is equally as important right now. So for example, in this one call we did just yesterday, I had the person we're interviewing open their laptop like this. So you'll see they open the laptop at the start of the interview.
That could have gone wrong.
Could have gone really wrong. It could have gone really wrong. They open the laptop at the start of the interview. They put the laptop by a kettle and they start making a tea. So right at the start of the Zoom call, you're sort of with them in their home before they start chatting. And while we did that, we cut it like we would normally in an interview. You're hearing a voiceover while you're seeing some B-roll. And it says, "Hi, my name's Tom. I'm currently living and working in East London." But while that's happening, you're seeing them make a cup of tea. You see them open the laptop, and then the video starts and says, "Hey, how's it going?" And it just adds so much more value to that video, to just have small things like that to just make it different from everyone else's. So I think just really people shouldn't forget what's happening around them, because it's so important to show.
Brilliant. No, I think it's such a valuable insight, and good luck to you guys in finding a way of delivering it and getting clients to think creatively, I guess. Tom, it's been great talking to you, and stay in touch, stay safe, keep solving problems.
Nice one. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everyone. See you again for another episode of Exploring Digital with Purr. Thanks for joining. Remember to subscribe and follow us, and to share today's insights with other businesses you know who want to stay relevant in a digital-first world.